And welcome back. And right now we are on the NFL divisional playoffs right now, beginning with the NFC right now, which is getting ready to take place in about a little over an hour right now. Talk about more in particular with the LA Rams going on the field to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers right now. So that definitely should be an interesting, fun matchup right there, to say the least. But for right now, as we continue to move along here, if you guys want to check out uh, me on Twitter and Instagram, definitely check me out more so on my Mount Steel podcast on Twitter, which I do a lot more of my tweeting, which is at Mount Steel CGR, and on Instagram at Mount Steel Nation. And check me out on Twitter and Instagram for my main account at Prodigy Richey, as we're getting to take a look at a lot of things right now. And here we go right now. Playoff time here coming right now, we're in the second round right now. Definitely enjoyed the wild card round matchups. I know a lot of people probably been thinking maybe a little bit too much football. I mean, at the end of the day, but still, I thought it was real good. I mean, to say the least. I mean, it's just been really well. I mean, I think a lot of people were kind of like hinging right now, six matchups in one weekend. I mean, back to back prime time night games. I think which is what the whole idea of what the NFL was wanting to do with the expansion of the playoffs by one team apiece. Don't forget, and don't forget too. Even next year too. Remember, they're going to go from 16 to 17 games. So that's going to be another thing to watch out for right now here as we take a look at it. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's been real good. I mean, to say the least. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, for these playoffs, it's been very entertaining. I like the additional playoff right now. I mean, when we check it out, I mean, it's been some great stuff right here. I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's been real good. I mean, to say the least. I mean, for instance, I mean, when you look at, I mean, I think I mean, Sunday's matches were probably like the best games, to be honest with you. I mean, Saturday was good, but I think Sunday was definitely, I think, had a little bit more intrigue right there. I mean, when you really look at, or maybe, I don't know, you know what, I take that back. I'll probably say more so Saturday, and here's why. I really feel like in these contests, when you really look at it too, I mean, take for example, like the Bucs versus the Washington football team. I thought that was a very good matchup right there in itself, right there. I mean, when you looked at it, I mean, you had Tom Brady right there going up against a real good defensive football team in Washington right there. I mean, Chase Young, definitely one of the guys who's definitely been like chewing off his mouth. But I mean, at the same time, he's been backing up his play a lot more on the field, I mean, to say the least. I mean, when you really think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, too, I mean, this is a guy who's, I mean, even to Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers right now, a lot of people are in question right now if this guy's going to retire. The latest report we're hearing that it's optimistic by the Steelers organization that he will be able to return for his final year. Biggest question is how much are they spend him? Back to Chase Young real quick. I mean, this is a guy who's not been afraid to be just as much a disruptor right now on defense. And when you look at everything, what they've been able to do, I mean, we see Tom Brady go up against like players and matchups right there and how he's going to react and how he's going to be able to handle things where the storm here. I really do feel like right now, I mean, it's definitely right now looking trying to be the first team to host a Super Bowl. We'll get into that a little bit more in the final 10 minutes, but real quickly, I think, I mean, when we really look at it, I mean, I thought the games that stood out from last Saturday, just to recap, I mean, was the Rams being the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, speaking of which, I mean, for what the defense was able to do with Russell Wilson, harassing Russell Wilson and him earning his first playoff loss at home, got sacked 5 times, had a pair of turnovers in that game. And I gotta be honest with you, I had confidence that the Rams were gonna definitely, make their stance and make their presence known, and just show everybody that they did not just come here to just play. They meant business and no screwing around. And I really feel like they sent their message. To the Seahawks at the end of the day. This team unloaded on them, and then of course, like the other game too. On Sunday that stood out for me was the Ravens over the Titans right there. You think back over a month ago when you saw before the game right there. I think it was Malcolm Butler was one of the guys right there, and a few of the Titans player stepping on the Ravens logo right there. And I know, I had a discussion with someone off to the side real quickly. I threw like a little bit of hissy fit one time, but when we looked at it, with Juju Smith-Schuster. But at the same time, I think there's just certain things in sports that are just unwritten laws you do not want to go into and kind of get, get some receipts coming your way that you're not going to want to own up to. At the end of the day, I feel like right now the Rams right now they're going to be going into a Packers game right now. No snow on the horizon right now for this moment, but I definitely do feel like right now too. What's going to be an interesting challenge right now is Jared Goff. How is he going to be able to continue to throw the ball, especially with those pins in his throwing fun right there? And when you look at it for today, the forecast is calling for at game time about mid 30 degrees, 36 degrees, hardly any precipitation, so we probably won't see any snow right there. But I think the Rams are definitely going to be having a very dubious task, to say the least, at the end of the day here. And I definitely do feel like right now, with the Rams who haven't won in Green Bay in over 15 years, this is a team at the end of the day who is trying to make some stuff pop up here. One of the things right now, I think the very question is right now, for the season, when you look at the Green Bay, we already know about Aaron Rodges on his arm, how well he's able to quickly, the master game, rid the football so quick. But when you also look at this Packers team too, everything aside from that too, they've been allowed the third most fewest sacks on their quarterback. Only Rodgers has been taken down 21 times. And you look at a lot of times throughout the season. Whenever teams try to come up and blitz Aaron Rodgers, how many times does he make teams play real quick? Pay. Coming after them. We saw that with the Bears many times. Throughout the season. You look at the opponents that the Green Bay Packers, who have been taking care of business right now. To say the least. Here's some of the games right here. You look at like an interesting New Orleans Saints game right there where they won 37-30 right there. Pretty darn good defense right there, and definitely a Hall of Fame quarterback in himself, Drew Brees. But you also had some impressive wins. Throughout the season too. When you look at, aside from the Bears too, really against the Titans, and really not so many other teams right there. I think they had a fairly easy schedule, to say the least, going into this year. They definitely did split with the Vikings, two apiece right there, and definitely dismantled the Bears, who's trying to win and get into the playoffs. But by them not winning, they actually had some help to get into the playoffs by the Rams defeating the Cardinals right there. And that's how you see it right there. And that's what translated, for this squad here. So, right now, Aaron Donald right now, who I would not be surprised if he is able to steal NFL Defense Player of the Year away from a guy like T.J. Watt. When you look at, look at the categories right here. Yes, you got T.J. Watt, who's top. He's number one in tackles for loss, but then you got Aaron Donald right there, who is ninth in that category. Sacks right now. Aaron Donald's second behind T.J. Watt in sacks right now. He has got 13 and a half for the year, while TJ has got 15. Quarterback hits. This guy is seventh so far right now with 101 quarterback hits. TJ Watt has 136. Then you also look at forced fumbles. He's also in the category for forced fumbles, 10th. Now, it still appears that TJ Watt, still has a slight edge for what he's did. With that stuff. And I was looking at a lot of sites right now, but I can tell you what, the more this Rams team continues to stick around and maybe advances in the playoffs, and usually I think this is like an individual award. But if they were able to like do some damage right here against this Packers team, I'm telling you right now, this is a team right now where they can really start making their case hugely. The only problem is right now they're not going to be have any games at home. They're going to have to be a road team the rest of the way to really do that. And I definitely do feel like the Rams, I think they got what it takes, to be honest with you. I think they got what it takes to really lay down the law against some teams right now. Now, the only thing is, when you take a look at your preferences right now, if the Rams are able to win this game against the Packers, I mean, who would you want to see more? I mean, would you want to go against Tom Brady and Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers in Tampa, or rematch? I mean, think about this too. Here's another storyline we're not talking about. Should the Rams be able to knock off the Packers today? And if the Saints win tomorrow, you could have a rematch of the most controversial defensive pass interference game that ended right there, NFC Championship game. Will that happen? I have no idea, but I think that is definitely not ruling out beyond the realm a possibility here. I mean, for that time, when we really look at it, and I definitely do feel like the Rams right now. I mean, they're definitely a team right now. They're trying to join their fellow comrades in LA, like the Lakers and the Dodgers, who won championships in the span of 4 months. I mean, like I said, it's almost been 7 years. I mean, since the city of Los Angeles has experienced a world title of any kind. But let's go ahead and keep it in that perspective right now. I mean, one of the biggest things too. I mean, which really makes this matchup intriguing right now for this game right now. I mean, especially with the Rams versus the Packers. I mean, for this, I mean, when you look at it here, I mean, the Rams. It's going to be the two top scoring, the two top ranked. It's going to be the number one scoring points defense for the Rams, which leads the league with 296 points given up, versus the number one scoring offense with 509 points. This Packers team can score. Don't get me wrong. This is a very well pinball machine right now. I mean, to say the least. And to be honest, with you, I really do feel like right now. I mean, for this time, we'll find out. But I mean, this is a team right now who is like definitely trying to, I mean, stamp their ticket right now so that they could belong in the class with anybody here. And right now, I mean, you got a team right now who's definitely, I mean, playing hot right now. I mean, aside from Aaron Donald, I mean, you look at some other guys on this Rams team right here. I mean, when you take a look at it here, I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, let's take a look at it right now. I mean, aside from that, of course, when you got Aaron Donald with your lead guy with 13 and a half sacks, but also Leonard Floyd right now. He is right there who's got 10 and a half sacks on the year here. I mean, Leonard Floyd right now, he is sixth on the league. I mean, sixth on the team in tackles right now, and second on the team with quarterback hits. But then you also take a look at guys like two right now. I mean, the question right now too, like a guy like Jalen Ramsey right now, who right now is just I think recently has just been named to an All Pro team. Uh, I mean, with this Rams team for right now, I mean, when you look at it, or no, excuse me, that was before. But still, I mean, this is a team who create takeaways, be a disruptor to any offense. I just feel like right now the question is trying to do in this cold weather right now. I think it's definitely going to be the interesting matchup of the day, and we'll see how this continues to make itself fly and go by here. So for this contest here, I mean, when you also look at it too, I mean, when you look at the Packers' offensive side of the ball, I mean, who the guys you really got really contend with too, aside from Aaron Rodgers, you got guys like Aaron Jones right now. I mean, for the moment, he's leading his team in scrimmage yards with 1,459 yards scrimmage, and is also second on the team, tied for second with Robert Tonyan with 11 touchdowns right now. Devontae Adams right now definitely proven to be the real deal so far right now. I mean, when you look at, I mean, this guy's in his seventh year right now, and we'll see how this continues to work out here. But I tell you what, I think the biggest question is what's going to come down to: can Jared Goff be able to be relaxed, settle in, and make some throws once again off that bum? I mean, it took him a while to warm up. I mean, look at this guy coming off the bench, playing for some pain after they had another quarterback in the game in that Seattle game. But still, I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, right now it's going to be a real interesting thing right here. I mean, for this right now. So, I mean, let's take a look at it from that perspective. And yes, Jalen Ramsey, excuse me. So this is a second All Pro team right now. But yeah, so let's watch out for those matchups. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the upset on this one. I just have a feeling right now because I just really feel like right now it's not always a certain thing right there. No matter how hot you're during the regular season, I really feel like the Rams could get a close one off a Packers here. Go ahead and give me in this game. Give me the Rams. Because they're able to pull up 30 points against Seattle. Let's see what they can do against the Packers here. But I'm gonna go ahead and go. Give me. I'll probably say 23-20. If either will hold the Packers with 20 points right there, they'll win this game by a field goal. So give me the Rams in here to kick off this one. You got the next matchup here in the NFC Divisional Round playoffs, which will be the finale of this weekend, which will be tomorrow. Oh, which, by the way, too, in case people are wondering the schedules for these playoff games for this weekend of the divisional round right now. So, like the divisional rounds right now for today with the Packers versus Rams, that's going to be at 4:35 p.m. Eastern Time. That game is on Fox. You got the announcers Kevin Burkhardt, Daryl Johnson, Pam Oliver, and Christina Pink. They will be calling that game. And then for the Bucs versus Saints right now, that game will be tomorrow at 6:40 p.m. Eastern on Fox. You'll be having Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Aaron Andrews uh, for the broadcast team having the call on that game. So let's go ahead and roll right into that one right now. You got Tampa Bay Buccaneers team right now who's looked silly right now so far against the Saints right now. I mean, for this time. I mean, getting swept during the regular season here. Not looked anywhere nearly as close, except maybe for the first matchup right there. I mean, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and where they lost legitimately, but at the same time too, I think the interceptions were starting to mount up in that game right there. I mean, you saw that some of the pass rush be able to get to Tom Brady in that very first game right there. Had a pretty good start, but when you also look back at that game too against it, I mean, breaking it down for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, let's take a look at it right here. I mean, you had Tom Brady play that game. He threw for 2 picks. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Got sacked 3 times, and really didn't have much of a rushing game at all. I mean, you have Ronald Jones right there who ran for 66 yards off of 17 carries. But I mean, at the same time, Brady was starting to get familiarity with this team right here. I mean, they won that game defensively in that contest right here. I mean, and for Brady to get sacked 3 times in that game right there, and when you really look at it too, I mean, one of the biggest things that was like that helped the Buccaneers case was the fact they were getting tacked with turnovers, 9 turnovers for 103 yards. The next game, no doubt about it, against the New Orleans Saints, was nowhere nearly even close, semblance wise. 38-3, pretty much right there. The Saints just came in to the Bucs' own backyard and they threw them out of their own property right there, to say the least. I mean, pretty much evicted them in that game, in that contest, I guess you could say. Excuse me, no respect on that word, so disregard that. But yeah, let's see what happens here. I really do feel like right now, I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus New Orleans Saints, I think that was a different team right there. I feel like that first contest right there, I mean, just not taking care of the ball. But at the same time, too, I really do feel like right now that this Bucs team is starting to click right now and really starting to come together as a unit more better. I mean, you've been hearing some little shots being thrown at by well, not shots, but just more critiques are just making public and just kind of came across a little awkward about not Brady not throwing the ball deep enough, hitting his receivers down the field more. I mean, that's not Brady's style right there. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at it, I mean, they won they swept the whole month of December, winning their final 4 games, including winning against a Washington right now. And you look in that stretch, I mean, right now, I mean, for that time here, when we take a look at it, I mean, for all that, 448 points in the final month of the season, then tacking on another 31, 179 points in their last 5 games, including the postseason right now. The only thing I do question a little bit is going to be their defense right now. If they're going to be able to like give up like some big plays right now, because I don't think I've seen fairly enough as far as like where they could do more stuff with that. So I think that's going to be a real interesting challenge to say the least. But at the same time, too, I definitely do believe it is a winnable game right now, and I really feel like that Brady and Aaron, maybe they have come a long way. We'll see. I mean, and also too, I mean, we're also getting notes too that Antonio Brown is probably in the best shape of his life right now. But for that reason, for right there, for staying alone, I'm gonna go ahead and say, give me to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this contest. And I feel like if they could do that, guess what? The Buccaneers win this game and the Rams win. Buccaneers have themselves a home game as a wild card team, which would be crazy. But at the same time, too, I mean, it's either that or they would have to go on the road against Green Bay and the Packers. And by the way, too, a little update right now in case everyone's wondering. I know the Saints organization, a lot of people are expecting this. Quite possibly, definitely more than likely that this would be Drew Brees' last run in his NFL playing career right now. Because right now, the transition following this is to rejoin NBC. So we'll see how that works. But I tell you what, I mean, Drew Brees, I mean, when you look at it right here, I mean, the story of this guy, I mean, you saw a lot of his stuff with the flag comments that happened right after George Floyd. And then he was talking about how I remember his parents in the army. Remember, this was a guy who a lot of people view that, like, he had like the race card thrown up at him and was really concerned about what he was saying and how his stuff came across negatively. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, everybody makes their mistakes. Everybody's, I mean, going to have their moments. But at the end of the day, too, Drew Brees has been a true ambassador for this league for such a long time and just been a constant guy who's continued to stay humble through everything. I mean, he's given everything he can to this game and trying to be an all-around representative of the people who tune into this guy. And I just didn't think it was a fair knock to put on him. But at the end of the day, too, I do feel like Drew Brees right now at the end of the day, I mean, if he's able to somehow like find a way to make a run, get to the Super Bowl, win it, it couldn't happen to a better guy. So for right now, for my picks going into this weekend, I'm gonna go with 2 upsets in the NFC divisional playoffs. Give me the Rams. I just have a strange feeling about the Rams. I just have a feeling they're gonna go ahead and do something against the Packers. They're gonna slap them in the mouth, and then also give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road against Drew Brees and the Saints. So give me the Rams and the Bucs, and then coming up, we're going to be getting into right now my AFC divisional playoffs.
He's got it. That's a winner.